Let's get right into it. Number 8. Deceptive pricing tricks. You walk up to a movie theater concession stand. The options are a small popcorn for $4, a medium for $8, and a large for $8.50. You stare at the menu, your brain short-circuiting. The medium is obviously a terrible deal. Why would anyone buy it? That's the point. It's not there to be sold. It's there to make you feel like a genius for buying the large. This is the decoy effect, a cognitive loophole that manipulates you by introducing a third, strategically crappy option. Your brain is terrible at judging absolute value, but it's fantastic at comparing things. When you only have the small and the large, it's a tough choice between saving money and getting more popcorn. But when the medium decoy is introduced, the choice becomes simple. The large is clearly a better value compared to the medium, so you buy it, feeling like you've outsmarted the system. You haven't. The system just outsmarted you. Tech companies are masters of this. They'll offer a basic software plan, a premium plan, and a middle or pro plan that's only slightly cheaper than the premium, but has way fewer features. Its entire job is to make the most expensive option look like an absolute steal. It's the marketing equivalent of bringing an ugly friend to the bar to make yourself look more attractive. The decoy is that friend, and it works every single time. Number 7. Cognitive anchoring bias. A real estate agent shows you a ridiculously overpriced mansion that you could never afford, not even if you sold a kidney. You laugh it off. Then they show you a second house. It's still expensive, but compared to the first one, it suddenly seems reasonable, almost like a bargain. You've just been anchored. The anchoring bias is our brain's tendency to get stuck on the first piece of information it receives, using it as a reference point for all future decisions. That first insane price wasn't meant to sell you a mansion. It was meant to set a high anchor in your mind, making every subsequent price seem lower by comparison. Car salesmen do this for a living. They start with an absurdly high sticker price, and then every discount they offer makes you feel like you're winning, even though you're still paying more than the car is worth. This works even when the anchor is completely random. In one study, participants were asked to write down the last 2 digits of their social security number and then bid on items like wine and chocolate. People with higher numbers consistently bid more. Their brain anchored to a meaningless number and used it to judge the value of a bottle of wine. Retail stores exploit this with their fake original prices. They'll slap a $300 price tag on a shirt that was never intended to sell for more than $50. Then cross it out and offer it to you for the sale price of $75. Your brain sees the $300 anchor and thinks you're getting a massive discount, when in reality, you're just getting played. Number 6. Psychological framing effect. Imagine 2 yogurt pots. One is labeled 20% fat. The other is labeled 80% fat-free. Which one sounds healthier? They are exactly the same, but your brain overwhelmingly prefers the second one. This is the framing effect, a loophole that shows how changing the way information is presented can dramatically alter your perception and decisions, even if the core facts remain identical. Your brain doesn't just process data, it processes emotion. 80% fat-free sounds positive, healthy, and successful. 20% fat sounds negative, heavy, and unhealthy. Politicians are grandmasters of framing. They don't say raising taxes. They say revenue enhancement or investing in our communities. They don't say cutting funding for schools. They say reallocating educational resources. They're not changing the policy. They're just changing the frame to make it more palatable. In a famous experiment, doctors were presented with 2 treatment options for a disease. One was framed with a 90% survival rate. The other was framed with a 10% mortality rate. Logically, they are identical. But overwhelmingly, doctors and patients chose the one framed around survival. Our brains are hardwired to avoid loss and seek gains. And a clever manipulator can use framing to make you feel like you're gaining something when you're actually losing, or avoiding a loss that was never really on the table. It's a way of controlling your choice by controlling the story around the choice. Number 5. Manipulative social proof. You're looking for a place to eat in a new city. You see 2 restaurants side by side. One is completely empty. The other has a line out the door. Which one do you choose? Almost certainly the busy one. Why? Because your brain is lazy. Instead of doing the hard work of figuring out which restaurant is actually better, it takes a shortcut. It assumes that if lots of other people are doing something, it must be the right thing to do. This is social proof. It's an ancient survival instinct. If you saw a group of cavemen running frantically in one direction, you wouldn't stop to analyze the situation. You'd run with them, assuming they were escaping a saber-toothed tiger. Today, that instinct is being used to sell you everything from bad music to overpriced sneakers. Social media is a social proof factory. Those influencers with millions of followers, a good chunk of them might be bots. Those products with thousands of 5-star reviews. Many are fake or paid for, but your brain doesn't know that. It just sees the big numbers and thinks, wow, this must be popular. I need it. Companies use this by saying 9 out of 10 doctors recommend this, conveniently leaving out that they only surveyed 10 doctors who were on their payroll. It's why nightclubs make people wait in line outside even when it's empty inside. The line itself is the advertisement. It's a powerful, silent form of peer pressure that tricks your brain into outsourcing its decision-making to a crowd of strangers. Number 4. Gradual commitment trap. A charity worker stops you on the street and asks you to sign a petition to save the local squirrels. It takes 5 seconds, so you sign it. You feel good about yourself. A week later, the same person finds you and asks if you'd be willing to donate $20 to build tiny squirrel-sized houses. You hesitate, but then you think, well, I did sign the petition. I'm someone who cares about squirrels, and you donate the money. You've just been ensnared by the foot in the door technique. This is a persuasion tactic where you get someone to agree to a large request by having them agree to a modest request first. Your brain has a deep, obsessive need to be consistent with its past self. Once you've publicly committed to an idea or a cause, even in a small way, you feel an internal pressure to stick with it. That first yes acts like a psychological tripwire. Saying no to the second, larger request would create cognitive dissonance, a conflict between your actions and your self-image. Your brain hates this feeling, so it often chooses the easier path, agreeing to the bigger request to maintain consistency. This is how you end up agreeing to help a friend move their entire apartment, when all they initially asked was if you could help carry one box. It's how free trial offers turn into expensive monthly subscriptions. They get their foot in the door with a small, easy yes, knowing that your own brain will then hold the door open for them. Number 3. Emotional guilt trips. A family member says to you, "Don't worry about me. I'll just be here all alone for the holidays. You go have fun." They're smiling, but the words land like a punch to the gut. They haven't made a request. They haven't made a demand. They have simply taken your conscience hostage. This is guilt tripping, a form of manipulation where someone tries to control your behavior by making you feel responsible for their negative emotions. It's an emotional sniper attack. The manipulator doesn't need to be aggressive. They just need to aim at your built-in human desire to not cause others pain. Phrases like, "after everything I've done for you," or "I guess my feelings just don't matter," are not statements. They are weapons designed to trigger your guilt response. Your brain on guilt is a terrible negotiator. It panics and immediately wants to resolve the bad feeling, often by giving in to the unspoken demand. The manipulator knows this. They are hacking your empathy. The more you care about someone, the more effective their guilt trips are, because they are using your own love and sense of responsibility against you. It's a vicious cycle. Every time you give in to a guilt trip, you are teaching the manipulator that it works, reinforcing the behavior and ensuring it will happen again. It's a subtle but powerful form of control that masquerades as hurt feelings, turning your own compassion into a cage. Number 2. Intense love bombing. You meet someone new and it's a whirlwind. Within days, they're telling you they've never felt this way before, that you're their soulmate. There are constant texts, lavish gifts, and overwhelming declarations of love. It feels like a fairy tale. It's not. It's love bombing. This is a manipulation tactic where a person showers you with intense affection and attention at the beginning of a relationship in order to gain control. It's like being force-fed your favorite dessert. At first, it's amazing, but soon you start to feel sick. And if you try to pull away, they act deeply hurt and wounded, making you feel guilty for rejecting their love. Love bombers are emotional loan sharks. They give you a massive, intoxicating loan of affection up front, but the interest rates are astronomical. You'll spend the rest of the relationship paying it back with your freedom, your friendships, and your sense of self. Your brain on love bombing looks exactly like the brain of a drug addict. The constant validation and grand gestures trigger a massive dopamine rush, the same pleasure chemical released by cocaine. So while your gut might be screaming, "This is too fast, this is too much," your addicted brain is just begging for another hit. This tactic is especially effective on people who grew up feeling unseen or unloved. To someone dying of thirst in a desert, a flood of poison can look like an oasis. Real love is a slow burn. Love bombing is a flash fire that's designed to consume you before you realize you're on fire. Number 1. Psychological gaslighting. You have a clear memory of telling your partner you are going to be late for dinner. When you get home, they're upset. You say, "But I told you I'd be late." They look at you with genuine confusion and a little pity and say, "No, you didn't. You never said that. You've been really forgetful lately. Are you feeling okay?" You start to second guess yourself. Maybe you didn't say it. Maybe you just thought it. This is gaslighting. The term comes from a 1944 movie where a husband systematically manipulates his wife into thinking she's going insane by, among other things, dimming the gas lights in their house and then telling her she's imagining. It is one of the most insidious forms of manipulation because it doesn't just seek to control your actions, it seeks to control your reality. A gaslighter will deny things they said, invent things you supposedly did, and consistently question your memory, your perception, and your sanity. They are psychological termites, slowly and methodically eating away at the foundation of your self-trust. You start questioning small memories, then bigger ones, until you no longer feel you can trust your own mind. Your brain actually helps the gaslighter in this process. We are social creatures who have a deep need to trust the people we are close to. When someone we love or respect consistently tells us our perception is wrong, a part of our brain wants to believe them. It's easier to believe we are mistaken than to believe the person we trust is a liar. Gaslighting is a quiet, brutal war on your mind, and its only goal is to make you so doubtful of yourself that you become completely dependent on your abuser to tell you what is real. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.